Welcome to Not Ashamed. I'm your host, Ashley Nordman, and today I'm here back again woo! With Bart, and we're gonna have some great conversation today.
Wow.
I feel like there's this like whole category of things with like guys and girls, especially where there's like rules and like breaking the rules and boundary setting and like people like pushing their limit. And I'm like, this is literally exactly what people were doing in this college. Like they were being forced into these rules and boundaries, and then they were like probably finding ways to like.
Well, listen to this because it's 100% right. And I actually just had this conversation with someone yesterday about like girls don't like nice guys, girls like bad boys. Like where does that all fit into play? Because you go to Lindenwood, and if you follow the rules, you never got laid. Like you couldn't ever actually have a relationship with a woman because she wasn't allowed in your room.
Yeah. So like you quite literally couldn't because the way the rules
were, right? Yeah. So then you can't have sex in your car because that's also against the rules. And then you probably can't have sex in the quad because that's probably against the rules. Right? So if you're like a law, rule-abiding guy, you're fucking celibate for 4 years. You don't get to have sex at all. You have to go pay for fucking hotels, but you're a college kid. So
yeah, like, exactly. You're broke.
That's not going to happen. So the dude who would break the most rules got the most girls. Or at least had the highest probability of chance to have fun in college.
This explains a lot.
Doesn't it?
For this area that we live in.
Right.
People just breaking the rules, being sketchy. Just kidding.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it's 100% true. Like there's this, I don't know if you've heard stories of people cheating on their spouses and this and that, and once it stops being cheating, it like falls apart. You ever heard that before? Where that's like a concept. Like if you have to sneak around is exciting and it's like against the rules and this and that. Right. And then they lose their spouses and then they start dating someone and it kind of loses its fizzle because it's not wrong. Oh, so
anymore. It was like they only liked it because it was risky behavior.
They didn't know that, right?
But in the moment they're thinking, oh, it's because I like them better. But then when they leave that person and go to the person they cheated on them with, they're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was.
Because that extra spice and energy is gone, right? Because they were pushing new energy into the relationship because, we can only see each other for 5 minutes because I'm not supposed to be here right now.
Yeah. But then an adrenaline rush.
Yeah. And then that dopamine and serotonin just clouds your judgment and you think that it's something that it's not.
Right. Exactly.
Well, if you then think philosophically about like the bad boy concept, like, that happens all the time because if the female doesn't necessarily, I'm not saying danger, but what I'm saying is if she's aware that this dude can break the rules and he doesn't follow the rules, there's always that adrenaline of what the fuck's about to happen. Yeah. That entices serotonin and dopamine. And now you have like this, I like him so much. No, you like the potential fucking fear and danger and adrenaline and all that is what you like.
That's so true.
That safe guy that you know exactly what he's going to do all the fucking time and is predictable, it loses all of that.
That's so interesting. I feel like you're right though, because like people like love that thrill and like the mystery and the like chase of like trying to make him want you, even though you know he has like 4 other options.
Exactly.
Versus the guy that's like he's all in on you.
Exactly.
Would never go behind your back. It's like.
Yeah. I mean, I've had plenty of dudes tell me that once they get married, then they start getting a hella attention from fucking females.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. How are you not hearing any of this? Like, where the fuck are you and where the fuck am I?
I am the most naive person, so I just turn a blind eye to everything, apparently.
I mean.
Okay, educate me.
Again, it goes philosophically into what we're saying. Like, if you want to. Okay, psychologically speaking, if I want to determine my own value, I think a lot of people walk around the world trying to figure out their value and where they fit in the world, okay? Am I a 1? Am I a 10? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Yeah. I don't know for males specifically, but I have had situations told to me about females that subconsciously they go, he's unavailable. Mm-hmm. If I can break that, then my value must be extremely high.
Bingo. That makes so much sense.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how valuable I am.
So you're like trying to get like confidence through.
Yeah. Well, again, it's like I am at such a high level that this man, regardless of where his morals stand, maybe he's a very moral, maybe immoral, but the more moral he is, the more he's willing to break his morals for me, the value of mine must be hella high.
Yeah.
And if you think back to like history of like how many wars were fought over fucking females, that the female would allow a war to be fought over her, kind of goes inside that premise of like, I'm so valuable. There's 400 dudes fighting right now. They're fucking killing each other because I'm hot. You know what
Amazing.
I mean? Like, what the fuck? Like, that's not okay. You should probably stop that.
Right.
But they don't. And I think dudes do the same thing, you know, to some capacity, to some degree. I just think that because of our psychologies, we do it in different ways. But it's so fucking interesting how much extra we put onto interpersonal relationships that don't really have anything to do with the relationship.
Yeah. It's all the feelings and other aspects of it versus like the actual person themselves.
Right.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
We're not super aware of all those things. What we are aware of is how we feel in the moment. But your feelings have so many other aspects connected to it.
Right.
Right? Like
That's
I said,
so true.
like that risk, adrenaline. I love hanging out with you. Well, how many friends have you had in your life where the only reason you hung out was to do stupid shit? And then you found out like we're actually not really good friends. We just like drinking together.
Yeah,
or we
like that's your purpose though. You like when we're together, we just do dumb things.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And like, oh, I love hanging out with them. It's like, no, you like doing stupid shit. And they're the only ones willing to do that with you. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And then you mature to a point where you go, that's not good for me. Which then you equate to they're not good for me. Because you're, I don't do stupid shit without them. Okay, so it really wasn't them. It was your want for thrill. They just engaged you on your thrill.
Yeah. That's so true.
I don't know if we really sit down long enough to figure out those kind of self-awareness things. And then instead we just blame the relationship or we blame the other person. You know, how many times have you heard someone say they changed? They changed. Like, oh, it was so good and then they changed. I would fucking say that maybe they didn't change. Maybe the environment changed. Right. And now you're feeling different even though they're the same person they've always been.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Or I feel like too, sometimes like maybe people don't change, but they had this mask on for so long and then you finally see the real them.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy fuck. Like,
absolutely.
I was just with somebody for 2 years who I thought was this human being. And now all of a sudden the wheels are falling off and I'm seeing this version of them.
Yeah, which is the actual version.
Yeah, exactly. Which is the actual version of who they are, but they were putting on this like front because they were too afraid to reveal who they truly were. Yeah. Which if they would have from day one, you could have possibly like worked through it and I don't even know, like been more collaborative about it. But if it's almost like if they hide for as long as they do and then you finally see who they really are, by then there's just so much like resentment and betrayal and it just feels like so painful because then you're like, well, was everything we built a lie? And it kind of was because you built something off of like the idea of someone versus, or not even the idea of someone, but like this version of them that they like put on for you just to impress you versus like who their like actual soul is, you know?
Well, okay, so from a guy's perspective, I'll say it like this. So I would say in those situations, men have a very tough time being vulnerable.
Yes.
We don't want to let you know our secrets. We don't want to let you know our imperfections.
Okay, why though? Why do you guys do that?
Well, because we're protectors and providers. Weaknesses don't protect or provide.
So vulnerable in men's eyes means we're weak.
If you are the one we are sworn to protect, I am here to make sure you're provided for, that you're safe, that you don't have to worry about things, right?
Right.
If I give you all of my chinks and my armor, are you not going to focus on my chinks instead of my strengths? And therefore, will you not feel unsafe with me knowing that there's penetrable defense?
I think men have that wrong, though.
Probably.
Because to me, vulnerability is a huge sign of strength. It's actually like the ultimate sign of strength.
Okay, what if all you got was his weaknesses and he didn't even portray his strengths?
If that's the only thing he showed me?
What if that was the focus of the beginning of the relationship?
That's interesting because I feel like I've done that before. And I think it takes the right person to be able to go there with them because you either realize that you're just going to end up taking them on as a project and not have like the right boundaries, and then you're trying to like heal them, which is my problem. I try to like fix people from day one. So if they get vulnerable with me and like only show the weak side of them, then it's like I'm trying to like pull them through all of that and like help them get to that strong place where I feel like they really are deep down. But I also think that sometimes, like, if people are just really vulnerable from day one and you see all these, like, things, it could probably scare women away because then they're just seeing, like, all the shit they have to work on. And they're like, well, damn, they have all these fucking problems.
That's right.
You know?
The reasons, if in the beginning all I'm giving you are the reasons why I might not be able to protect you, you're not going to fucking be attracted to a guy who can't protect you.
So I think in some cases, yeah. But I think that's not always true.
let me say this, not in a healthy way. Because yes, there are women who play the role of fixer and they self-sacrifice in order to try to help the guy along.
Yeah.
But that's not healthy either.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? In order to have a feminine role and a masculine role, those two things have to be established from the get-go. And once they're established, then you can, I feel, go deeper into the concepts of, here are my vulnerabilities, here's where I need your help.
Yeah.
But if I don't establish how you're safe with me and I can provide for you first, then you don't have that basis to let yourself go, right? Because if you are a female who has had a tough past and has tried to help a guy through some shit and has gotten burned, the moment I start throwing out my vulnerabilities, you go, red flags, here we go again.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm about to fucking have another baby on my hands, right? But instead it's showcased the strengths and the ability to provide and security, then you're like, oh, okay, I got some stability. Once the stability has been established, then I go, hey, listen, these are my issues. This is the things I really need help with in order to keep providing and keeping things secure. Then you're like, yeah, I have no problem sacrificing myself in order to help you do that so that you can sacrifice yourself to help us. But that process doesn't happen because, again, it's one or the other. The dude got burned by being vulnerable, so he never be vulnerable again. Or, the guy... gets burned for not being vulnerable and then showcases vulnerability only and only focuses on that and then again never gets another relationship because now he's a weakling and he can't support himself, so how he's going to support us and that type of thing.
Yeah. I can see exactly what you're saying actually, and I feel like it's just like anything in life, like it's a balance. It's like you got to show you can't not be vulnerable, but you also like can't go in from day one just being like an open freaking book. Like you have to build that with people. Okay, so I'm newly single, right? So I'm figuring this all out for myself. And the biggest thing that I'm drawing from this is you cannot fix your past relationship with your future one. Okay. So whatever just happened, it's done. Right. And this next relationship has nothing to do with the last one. So don't be who the last relationship needed you to be in the next one, because they don't have anything to do with one another. And that's why a lot of these cycles repeat. Yeah, you do the same thing in the next relationship. That either the same or you try to fix the problem of the last one in the next one. Right? So let's say you were dating someone and they thought you were too needy. Okay, so this next relationship, I'm not going to fucking contact them at all. I'm going 19 days between text messages. You know what I mean? How does the guy intend it? Yes, exactly. Movie, you're just like doing all the shit to push him away. And then you're like, why didn't that work? Yeah. Because it's the opposite of what the last one said, right? Yeah. Because they have nothing to do with one another. They're all like independent situations. Yes. Yeah. But we don't treat it that way. Yeah. You're probably right. Right? Yeah. I failed, this grade. So the next class, I'm going to do everything I didn't do in this class. Like, they're different classes. They don't require you to do the exact same thing. So, like, it's not going to work out either. Yeah. I got fired from my job. Okay, next job, I'm going to do everything the last job needed me to do so that I don't get fired from the next one. They're different jobs. It's not what it's required. Be present and figure out what the fuck is going on right here. Yeah. And then bring yourself with your boundaries and your understanding of self and your not new self, but your actual self. Bring it without all the baggage. And then see where it goes. Because who the fuck knows? Maybe this next relationship, you could have been exactly who you were in the last one and it'd be perfect. Yeah. But you fuck it up because you try to do opposite of what you used to do in order to fix it. Yeah, exactly. So like that's why I made this commitment to myself where it's like I'm not committing to anybody until I have spent enough time securing myself again in my new definition of self that is actually myself. Because I've been a husband for 10 years, which was my definition, which caused actions and thought processes and this and that and the other thing. I haven't been just Bart for a long fucking time. That's true. Right? Yeah. So once I'm very clear with what Bart is and very clear with how Bart needs to be taken care of by himself and by others, that's the only way then I can engage in a new relationship in a very healthy way. Otherwise, it's just managing old shit with new people. Absolutely. You're honestly right. And I feel like that's the problem. Like, I know a few people who have been divorced and then like tried to start dating again. And you worded it perfectly. Like they still feel like they're like the husband and they haven't like let go of like that identity and just finding themselves again and bringing their best version of them to the table. And I feel like you see it really quickly because they just, if you don't have that like inner strength and know exactly who the fuck you are, you're going to go into the next relationship and not be authentic. You know, you're not going to be like your best self. And you're also going to be probably like worrying too much about what the other person thinks or, you know, just trying to like please them versus just going, okay, I'm bringing me the like honest, truest version of me. And if they like me, great. If they don't, great. You know, and I think people are like so afraid to do that. But the only way you can honestly like move forward after going through such a hard situation, like literally going from being married to not married anymore, which is like a devastating thing. The only way, in my opinion, that you can not repeat yourself, like you said, is to finally find out like who you are again. Because if you go into the next relationship right where you were in your last relationship, you're still that person.
Which obviously wasn't working, which is why the relationship ended.
Yeah. And so like for me, I'm someone now where it's like, I am just being fucking honest. I'm being myself. I'm being exactly who I am because there's been points in my life where I've like not learned to say no or not set a boundary or not like I've just let shit slide because I didn't want to upset somebody. And then I'm not even being me. Yeah. And that's not fair to me.
Well, then also you're defining you to them in an inaccurate way.
Right.
And then when they make decisions off of their definition of you that are inaccurate, you're fucking bombarded with like, why the fuck would you think that? Why would you think that I'd be okay with that? Why would you think that that was okay to do?
Exactly.
And they're like, well, I have examples of how you've let that go.
Because you didn't set the boundary from the beginning. And so I've learned now, like, my biggest problem is, not biggest, but a big problem I have had is setting boundaries with people. And I've like looked a lot into like relationships and stuff. And I feel like there's like a different attachment styles, you know? Do you know about those at all? There's like 4 main attachment styles. One is secure attachment style, which is like the healthiest. Like you're secure in yourself. You set healthy boundaries. You know who you are. You know how to say no. You know like the non-negotiables. Like you're very confident and like you don't necessarily need somebody. You would rather like choose someone, which is exactly how it should be. Like you should be able to thrive and function on your own. But like life is not meant to be done alone. So you choose to do life with someone. And so when you're in a secure attachment place, like that's the healthiest and that's like where everyone's goal is to be. But then there's 3 others and I can't remember all of them, but
I think that I've heard the dependent attachment.
There's anxious attachment. There's I'm trying to remember the other 2. Yeah, something I feel like about dependence. Anyway, when I'm not my best self, I'm anxious attachment style. So I'm someone who like doesn't know how to say no, doesn't know how to set boundaries. Like I'll do something at the expense of myself just to make someone else happy. And like the biggest overarching like theme with anxious attachment is fear of abandonment. And I think when I look back, like now I'm in a place where I don't really care if someone walks away. It's not a me thing, it's a them thing. Like I've learned like it's okay. But the old me was so fucking freaked out about losing someone that like even if the relationship was toxic, I didn't leave. Because, well, I don't want you to leave me and then me be alone. And it's like even the fucked up people in your life who don't treat you right, you still want them to want you.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
You want to be wanted by everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the wrong people.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, but why? Why do I want to be wanted by the wrong people? And it's a self-confidence thing. And so for me, I learned over time, I don't really fucking care. If you don't want me, then I don't want you. But that's a really hard thing to learn. I've learned that with like some of my girlfriends who are single. They're like, Ashley, how the fuck are you there? They're like, I could never do that. I'm like, why? Like, if someone literally makes it so obvious they want nothing to do with you, why would you want them to want you? Like, why the fuck? If they don't choose you, you don't choose them. End of story. Thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time, be loud, be proud, and be shameless. Visit us at anskinbeauty.com to shop all of our medical grade skincare.